Why is it that everybody has something to read except me? I feel like
You
I need
don't,
to be in my bathroom.
you know, I'm not in the bathroom, but you
So
don't have an issue of Go Golf Arizona because you need it. If you don't, get it. Hurry, because today's guest is from GoGolfArizona.com. You better
Yeah,
hurry.
yeah. Let me. I did not receive one. I'm
What's
not in
funny is
Arizona either. So.
what's
Did they have
funny
a Go
is that
Texas?
he's so mad that you don't have a copy of it in front of you that he doesn't even want to show his face. So we're not even going to be able to see Rick Price today. And initially I was concerned that he was just having a bad hair day or whatever, but he's mad that you don't have the latest issue. And as a matter of fact, I don't have the latest issue, but we're going to talk about the latest issue that has Blair O'Neill on the cover, because I knew she was down there in Tucson, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But Jason from Shop Junior Golf is with us, who doesn't have an issue, so we're going to skip your introduction. Have you turned on the TV, Les? You were listening to some Sports Center or something there.
it's down.
All right, that's good. Well, Les is from Pro Golf Now. Are you proud that I didn't say Pro NFL now? I've got a new hashtag behind me. You see this little thing over here? Susan Scott from Sewilo Golf Club sent that to me, and
That looks like a tic-tac-toe board, man.
well, it's funny because my nickname at work is hashtag Ricky, and I was at Sewilo, and the team at Sewilo likes to call me # Richard, which is funny because one, it's a pound sign, and my name's not Richard at all, but it's funny. So we go by that when I'm in Tucson. But she sent me one of these, and I'm so excited about it. Like, I don't even know where to put it because I want to make sure I see it at all times, and it lights up. It was funny. There were batteries on top of it, and it had a little note that said batteries ... because it lights up. And it sure enough lights up. So anyway, enough about that. I know Rick Price knows Susan Scott, but I am really excited to have Rick on. We had him on prior, and we couldn't get his camera to work. And we were going to test, and we tried to test, and we couldn't figure out how to get that to work this week, so we didn't test. Well, guess what, Rick? We should have, because now you're here, and we can't see you. And you even said that you did your hair today, so I'm sad that I don't get to see that. So every time you're talking, I should just hold up your face in this issue of Go Golf Arizona. But Rick is with Go Golf Arizona. He's got
You didn't ask the right question, man.
What was the right question?
How did I get a copy of Go Golf magazine in Arizona when I live in Southwest Virginia?
How did you? We'll get to that. When you ask your first question, we'll get to that. But
All right.
I've met Rick several times, and he's a photographer, and he's a golfer, and he's got a lot of things going on. He wears a lot of hats, and Les actually made a comment because he switched from whatever hat he was wearing to his greenskeeper.org hat. He said he wears a lot of hats for being a retired man, but Rick wears a lot of hats. So, Rick, why don't you take a couple of minutes, tell us who you are, what you do, and what your involvement is with the game of golf in Tucson, Arizona.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, I do wear a lot of hats. You know, the magazine you're talking about, Golf Arizona magazine, the website's Go Golf Arizona. It's basically an offshoot of what I do with the PGA. I'm the director of the operations for the southern chapter of the Southwest Section PGA, and we started this about six years ago under a couple different brands of magazines. I rebranded a couple years ago to Golf Arizona, and you know, the whole premise of the magazine is basically we're just trying to promote the game of golf, especially here in Arizona, promote the business and associations in our community. But the most important thing is celebrate the people who play the game, and that's what it's all about, is just telling stories. So besides, you know, I run our local association for the PGA in Southern Arizona. We just started, we have a big junior golf program. We just started up this week. And, you know, so I'm all about golf.
That's awesome. And you didn't say much in there about playing golf. I mean, hopefully you're getting out onto the golf course and actually playing.
You know, I used to play a lot, played professionally, played at U of A on a golf scholarship years ago. So, you know, I love the competition of it. However, priorities and things in life change, and you know, it's not a top priority to be playing right now, although I still love to compete, and I still occasionally win a tournament here and there.
That's cool. Well, how many strokes you giving me when we play? Because I don't think, you know, you talk about winning tournaments, and I don't think I got that.
Hey, whatever you need, make you happy. All about you.
You better give him a bunch.
So you've got a nickname, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to call you Rick Price because everybody else calls you Hammer. and I don't have any idea where this nickname came from. Everybody that calls you that, I ask them why they call you that. Nobody knows. So let's release it here today on the Friday Foursome. Where in the world did you get the nickname Hammer?
Well, how long is the show?
you got a half an hour total.
Well, it's kind of a funny how it came about, but long and short of it, years ago I used to be able to hammer the ball pretty good off the tee when, hitting it over 300 was a pretty good drive. I think they ought to change it to the ball peen hammer now. I don't know. I don't hit as far.
Or tack hammer, huh?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that technology will catch up to my game sometime and I can hit it a little farther again.
Well, that is I don't even know why I didn't think of just being able to hammer the ball. And it's funny though that like Mike Carpy at Gallery, he calls you that, and I'm like, why do you call him that? He's like, I don't know. That's just what we call him.
Well, the people that originally started way back when, there was some wrestling involved in it. There was MC Hammer, supposedly. He really wasn't the first one wearing parachute pants, and he stole some of my lyrics on his hit songs. So
that's awesome. Jason, you got a whole bunch of good questions.
Man, so I'm excited that junior golf is a big part of this. Can you talk a little bit more about the junior golf stuff and what you guys are doing to grow the game?
Yeah, absolutely. We just finished up yesterday, actually. We partner every year with the JGAA and do a Tucson City Junior Championship, which we have a couple hundred kids participate every year. So we played at Randolph Golf Complex using both facilities, the Old North course, or Randolph as they call it, and Del Yurt course. And so we just finished up that yesterday. We start off Monday with our regular season for Ricky Rarick Junior Golf Program, which we, the PGA, run and operate that, and we're in our 61st year now.
Wow,
and,
so it's a new program, huh?
Yeah, the Tucson Conquistadors are a big supporter of it. And Ricky Rarick, the name of it, was a conquistador and is one who initiated the program back in 1954. So we run a great program all summer long. It's introducing tournament golf to kids anywhere from 6 to 18 years old. It's not about it's not about lessons or the golf swing. It's just introduced them to the competition and etiquette and rules of the game.
Very cool.
I was just going to say very cool. Thanks for stealing that. Jeez.
Thunder, man.
And Les got some good questions, too. And Les, I know that one of yours relates to the Waste Management Phoenix Open, which was more timely to the first time we had this, but I'm curious to hear his thoughts on that. So start with that question, because that's a good one.
Well, I was going to preface my question with, I wrote these questions out a couple of months ago. Is the limited activity of throwing stuff in the stands, is that and knocking out the caddy races and everything, is that hurting the waste management Phoenix Open?
I don't know if it's hurting it. It's certainly changing the event to some degree. I mean, I've had the great opportunity to be right there in the mix of that. I go every year, take photos of the event, and it is. If you've never walked through that tunnel and been in that atmosphere, it is crazy. We did have, the races and the guys throwing footballs in the stands and that. I mean, it gets everyone riled up, and I think if the wind blows the right direction, it'll rile them up. It doesn't really matter, but
after a few pops, I guess that anything's fair game, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, you get all the situations that they think could possibly happen, and they're just trying to protect themselves from any issues. But yeah, it's a shame that some of that stuff's gone away because it's pretty cool.
Well, I really love the caddy races, man, and if the guys didn't want to compete in it, they didn't. Of course they had to get booed a little bit, but they ran because they wanted to.
Yeah, it's again. I think there's just some legal issues there. They're trying to protect themselves. I can certainly understand that, but yeah, it was pretty cool to watch them do that. I don't think anyone ever got hurt. So
yeah,
See, some of the players this past year raced because the players can race. So some of
Right.
the players on the practice rounds they were having a good time with it. And
Last time I tried to do that, I think I pulled a hammy, so I don't think I'd be doing it.
So that's a good segue. You mentioned it a few minutes ago, taking pictures. I feel like I see you with a camera in your hands more than I see you with a golf club in your hands. So what are you doing with photos? Where are you putting them? How many events are you taking? Like, just what are you doing with a camera in your hand?
Well, I used to never take photos at all, virtually up six years or more ago, and just by happenstance, getting involved in the magazine business, all of a sudden had to find a way to get photos, and so I just figured it out, started buying equipment and learning how to do it. Really enjoy it, and I go to every major event, at least in Arizona. And as far as where I post them, I use some of them in the magazine, obviously. I do a lot of social media stuff, or at least I try with the Facebook stuff, and so that's where they mostly goes on Facebook, and just sharing sharing the different photos from all the different events from junior golf to professional golf.
So how many in the? I mean, do you take a lot of the stuff in the issue? I guess I don't even realize what you're taking versus what others are taking.
I haven't put a number to it. I'd guess almost half of the photos to some degree probably come from me.
Very cool. That's awesome.
At some point or another.
The things that I've seen from you from a photography side are fantastic, so keep it up.
I have a story about the photographer stuff. So I was at the Byron yesterday, and we were following Jordan Spieth and Keaton Bradley, and I was shocked at how ginormic those cameras are that those guys take from the tee box.
Is that a word? Ginormic?
Yeah.
It's really big.
It was huge. It was the craziest thing. Like the cameras click like 100 times when they take a picture. It's kind of cool. So there's my story.
That's a good story. You said ginormic, and that's a new word. So.
I think that's part of the millennial dictionary, isn't it?
I'm gonna look it up. Jason, ask your next question. I'm gonna look up ginormic.
So is Go Golf Arizona part of a bigger conglomerate that does take like in account the United States? Is there Go Golf Texas or Go Golf any other states, or is this specific only to Arizona?
Right now, it's specific only to Arizona. I mean, initially getting this off the ground years ago, there was thought of franchising it into different sections, coming up with a template that people could use for a magazine, have a national kind of thing. But that's still on the burner. But no, for me specific, it's all about golf in Arizona.
Okay.
Les, keep it going.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I've always loved the Match Play Championship, and I always thought that the best place in the world for it to be was at Dove Mountain in Tucson. But it was always at the wrong time of year. Is Arizona or Tucson doing anything to bring that tournament back?
Well, as you know, looking at the last issue, we just hosted the Champions Tour event at Omni Tucson National. That was kind of segueing out of the Accenture Match Play. I mean, obviously, the Conquistadors, I think the community would love to have it back, although we're pretty happy with the Champions Tour event. It was a real success. I think there's possible more financial dollars as far as raising money for the Conquistadors available with the Accenture Match Play. I'm not sure if it'll ever come back. There's certainly talk of another tour event. So right now they don't even have a sponsor for the Champions Tour event. So hopefully we'll just secure that here in the next.
Well, I mean that Nicholas designed that golf course specifically for match play, and it was a great event. That just it was just at the wrong time of year. It was too darn cold, I guess.
It's funny. I mean, as you know, in Arizona, February's you can absolutely have an 82-degree day, or it could be pouring down rain. You just never know.
It's snowing. It snowed 2 years ago.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got some great snow photos.
Yeah,
that was pretty abnormal to get snow in February.
Well, they changed the format to a round robin format, and then moved it to a different city. I mean, I think it would have done better if it stayed where it was at, and they'd changed the format, because the format did, if Tiger Woods was there and he lost the first day, he was gone,
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I'd be speculating to some degree in why it was moved. I think the sponsor had probably the majority decision in that. You're going to a place for a certain amount of time, and they want to try something different, possibly. I know they're certainly happy with what the job the Conquistadors did, and they always do a great job whatever event they host. So that certainly wasn't a factor. And the community embraced it fairly well for the size of community we are. We're certainly not a Scottsdale Metro Phoenix area, but I don't know if that had any play in it as well. But they've been, every year they talked about moving it, so it was really kind of a weird relationship. You never knew if it was going to be there the next year or not, and I can't even remember what it lasted, 7, 8 years, and it just kept on going. So we're happy with the time that we had, for sure.
Yeah.
Jason.
Very cool. So, being as you are probably the expert in golf courses in Arizona, and no pressure here, being as though we have kind of a guy that likes to prune a little bit. What is your favorite course? What are your favorite? Give me your top 2 courses in Arizona.
Be very careful how you answer this.
No pressure.
Well, Ricky told me he was the expert in that. So he probably plays more golf and more courses than I do. Yeah, I've been around for a long time in Arizona. I am, to be honest with you, even though we have some absolutely marvelous golf courses, desert-style golf courses, I'm more of the traditional kind of. I like more of the traditional kind of golf. As far as down south here is in a desert-style course. I love, the gallery. Tom Lehman and John Fote did a great job with that down there. Say Wilo's obviously our newest course down south, and Nota Gay did a very good job. A couple interesting holes. I don't know if I agree with, but great facility.
Like 10.
I like more of the Tucson National, Omni Tucson National style golf courses. Oro Valley Country Club, just more of almost a park style golf course. Maybe that's because my ball gets a little more errant than some off the tee, and I have a chance to replay it. But
I like so hard.
It's called getting your money's worth out of the course.
There you go.
Anyway.
Jason, you ready to move on to Les?
What's that?
Are you ready to move on to Les? He's got some more questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Les. I got one more after this one, though.
All right.
Do you not have questions from Greenskeeper?
Do I? Hang on. See, you always do this. I do this. You wear the hat here. Yes, let's go to one from Ringworld. So he said, how about what does he think of websites like greenskeeper.org that give golf course conditions by its user base? So do you find this information informative or counterproductive, and why? And that's a good question because...
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I guess it's dependent on who's reading it. But, I think it's nice that you can have the local community involved and certainly make their opinion. And that could be scary from a facility standpoint, too, because you don't know, although you provide consistent service, or at least that's your goal. One day you could be off, and if there's no way to fix the issue, and yet someone's out there where they had a bad experience, it's hard to kind of be on a positive or offensive thing instead of being so defensive if something went wrong. I think it's got its place. It's good and bad, and again, it depends on who's looking at it. But I think overall, I think the community probably needs it and deserves it.
And to that point, though, that could be a full conversation. Sites like Yelp and TripAdvisor and Golf Advisor, they're allowing people to leave reviews, and they're going to leave a review more often if they have a negative experience. And even as a user, I'm that way.
Right.
I try and I force myself. Like I went to dinner at Dominic's Steakhouse the other night, and I was thinking, Well, yeah, it was good, and I expected it to be good. It was expensive, and I went in, and I had a good experience, so I don't think to leave a review, and I did, but it was a short, very like, oh, yeah, I got what I expected. The food was good, the service was great. But if the food is not good, and the steak's cooked wrong, and the service is bad, or the golf course is in bad shape, I had bad outside service, then I'm gonna post this everywhere I can. So it's I agree with you. It's good and bad, and I think that more than anything, I think the courses have to almost embrace them because they're not going away. And the more people get comfortable using these sites, leaving these types of reviews, the more often you're going to see this stuff. So
yeah, it's just interesting how human nature is that way in regards to reviews, and that you're more likely to leave a negative than you are a positive for the most cases.
Well, I think people realize that too. That if the conditions were pristine and you had a great time, nobody's going to leave a review.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's expected, I think.
Yeah.
And it's almost expected if I paid $5 or I paid $500 that I paid good money, regardless of what that good money they got becomes relative. But yeah, I feel like we could have an entire conversation about just review sites alone. Maybe we should do that sometime. We should get 4 or 5, get a panel of people to talk about review sites from both the operator side and from the golfer side. Johnny, if you're watching, maybe that would be something we could do with some greenskeeper.org members. And speaking of Johnny GK, this is a great question. So he says, what do you find is the most important to write about in your publication as far as helping other golfers enjoy their golf experiences?
We do a variety of different, the magazine's all about, telling stories. It's not so much about current events. And so it could be anything from a golf lesson that is good today that'll be good, 5 years from now, or a story, a good feel story of someone doing something in the industry that, again, isn't time related. We try to have a mix of helpful stories in there about teaching. That seems to be one of the biggest hits we find on the website, that people are interested, obviously, in tips from the pros. So, and again, it's all predicated space on advertising. So we get in as much as we can in regards to stuff like teaching, which people certainly want more of.
So somebody asked the other day, it was on Twitter. Orange Whip asked what more, because I don't want the tips and tricks, and I want more of the lifestyle stuff. So the Back Nine Network, when they were out, I enjoyed the lifestyle aspect, because I don't take golf lessons. I'm not gonna read a 10-minute fix and figure out how to correct my slice. So I think it's about finding a little bit of a balance. And every time I see an issue of Golf Arizona, I pick it up because, well, one, because I know it's gonna be filled with awesome content, but because it's so different. I mean, it goes across the board and it's localized. So to the point that I'd love to go to Tucson and see a Golf Tucson even, and make it even more localized in that respect. But anyway, Jason, back to you. I feel like I'm talking as much as Rick is here.
I have a very important question here. The rumor of your wife's chocolate chip cookies has made it way to Texas, and I'm curious if there's any truth in any of that.
It's everything you read is true, right? And you see, especially with Tom Lehman's photo, right? Yeah, no, she loves, special occasions that she loves baking chocolate chip cookies, and she does an absolute wonderful job. And I think Ricky's had a few, so he could probably attest to that. But
so I'm sitting at the conference a few weeks ago, the Trim Leadership Conference, and we were outside for lunch, and it was hot, and lunch is done, so these cookies have been in your wife's purse for the last hour in the heat, and they were the perfect temperature. Unbelievable how good these cookies are. It was my first experience, and it's my only experience that I've had with them, so, it may or may not be worth driving to Tucson just to get a chocolate chip cookie. I'm just saying.
I'll tell you what, my parents are going to be in Tucson next week. Maybe I'll have my mom stop by and pick some up for me.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Les, I know you're a cookie eater.
Yeah. Yeah, I raid the cookie jar in the evening, late in the evening.
I do too, but it's called #Munchies.
Fourth meal.
Well, as luck would have it, my landlord or the people who own the house I rent, is actually a conquistador volunteer. And we got to talking golf one day, and he broke out his magazine and gave it to me.
Oh, wow. That's where you. I was like, where did you get it? I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know if Rick had sent you one or. That's really funny.
His name is John Gilly, by the way. And how successful was the Conquistador Classic?
Well, at least from my perspective, I thought it was great. I mean, Conquistadors, all the ones that I've talked to, Executive Director Judy McDermott, I mean, they were very pleased, especially with the community and how much they embraced it. And the players, more than anything, I mean, they loved coming back to Tucson and to Tucson National. It was absolutely amazing. I was the director of golf at Tucson National for years. I think I did 6 different events. I can't even remember the last one. David Duval, I think, won one year when I was there. But, prior to that, you think of all the winners and all the players that were walking Tucson National fairways back in the day, and to see them out there again was just like going back in time. It was pretty incredible. From having Tom Watson, who won back in the 70s, to Craig Stadler, to Mark O'Meara, to all the guys that participated. Right. Great.
Well, good.
So, Jason, we got a few more minutes here, but we got to get to my favorite part of the Friday Foursome. So, final questions from you.
So my last question is, you guys have a section for instructions on here. Do you guys ever highlight a specific coach, or advertise any coaches? Like, how do you guys pick what goes into this instructions section?
Well, are you talking about from the magazine standpoint or online version?
So either.
Actually, it's just a mix. There's occasionally some ads which we would call sponsor advertising, meaning that we give them extra space to add some content that is non-advertorial. So they might have their head professional or teacher, submit an article for teaching. That's certainly one of the ways. I also like to pick some of the top award-winning professionals, in our section to do articles, like Mike Malaska, Paul Pertzer, Glenn Griffith is doing one in the next issue, which he is instructor down at the Gallery Golf Club. So, there's no real rhyme or reason to say other than we just try to find the best, best instructors in the state.
Les, one more from you, because there are a couple of these back nine. Did we change the name of it? I feel like we changed the name last week. What did we change?
No.
I swear we changed the name of it.
I can't keep up with what you're calling it. But...
I can't either. I wanted to change the name of it. Ask your final question, and I'll see if I notated that.
Yeah, I almost moved to Flagstaff back in the late 60s, early 70s. Has golf gotten into Flagstaff at all yet, or is it
I actually used to live in Prescott years ago, which isn't too far from Flagstaff. But Northern Arizona, they've got some great facilities up there. NAU, obviously the Northern Arizona University, they've got golf teams up there, and you couldn't play at a better place in the summertime than Flagstaff, Arizona. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, it's cool up there, isn't it?
I love Northern Arizona. Unfortunately, I don't get up there as much as I used to, but I know obviously a lot of people in the valley love going up Show Low, Pine Top, Flagstaff, Payson area.
The ball travels so much further up there too. It's like, I just hit my pitching wedge 160 yards. Awesome.
It sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool when you're hitting it through the woods up there too.
So Matt Rust, as we were discussing, trying to figure out what we called the back nine, he just sent me an IM and he said it should be the quick nine. Do you like the quick nine better than the back nine?
The problem is it's never quick.
I know. We always say that it's rapid fire, and I stopped saying rapid fire. So, Matt, you get one call out per episode, and that this is a second one for you this week. So, okay, so Rick, the next 9 questions are meant to be fun, quick. One of them, in particular, you have to be very careful how you answer, but just have some fun with these, and it's called the back nine until further notice. So, Here we go. So I know that you take a lot of pictures. How many cameras do you own? And that does not include your cell phone, even though you can take pictures on your cell phone.
6.
6. I have my phone, so 1. What golf ball are you currently playing?
Oh, Titleist Pro VX, of course.
The X. See, I can't get the X to spin. I need a little bit more check around the greens. And the X does fly further, I will tell you that. But so you're close, and I've never been, and I need to go. But have you ever been to Tombstone?
I have.
Yeah. Is it worth the trip? Like, is it a cool experience?
I would certainly recommend it. It's always one of those, especially if you live in Arizona, it's one of those bucket list things you need to take care of.
Yeah. Do you need to stay there, or is it a day trip, like from Tucson?
Oh, I think you could do a day trip, but
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's certainly places down there to make it a cool place to stay. So.
All right. I want to stay. Awesome. You sold me. Have you ever had an ace?
1976.
I thought you were going to say 19 of them, and I was like, holy cow.
It was about a 45-mile-an-hour crosswind. Lucky it went in, but the fun thing is I've had 3 double eagles, so I kind of like those more so than the 1 ace that I've had.
See, I've never had an ace, but I've got a double eagle, and I think that I feel like it's more rare than an ace. Like
yeah.
We
just gotta keep believing that.
Yeah. If nothing else, we'll know. I hope to see an ace today on the PGA Tour because at the Byron Nelson they've got a hole that's got flood damage, and they made the par 4 104 yards.
Yeah.
Kept it a par 4, and I'm thinking, all right, that'll be neat to see. I mean, you get some eagles.
Somebody aced it today.
Somebody did ace it?
Yeah, somebody aced it already.
That's awesome. What is your biggest pet peeve on the golf course?
Biggest pet peeve. That people don't play more golf.
Wait a minute, Mister. I don't play golf very often.
That's a whole nother story.
So, what is your favorite restaurant in Tucson? There's a ton of good restaurants down there.
That is a good question. I'm more of a meat and potato kind of guy, so any steakhouse is good for me.
Yeah. Wow.
We didn't talk about it, but this is a good place to plug it. Who is your favorite LPGA Tour player?
My favorite? Wow.
I mean, it might be the person that appeared on the most recent issue of your magazine, maybe.
You know what? Favorite, I mean, the first ones that come to mind are obviously the most popular ones from the Michelle Weaves and Paula Kramer and those. I mean, I like them all. I don't have any one particular one that I would favor over another.
Just so you guys all know, June is Troon Women's Golf Month, so we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with growing the game from the female perspective, and look for that coming in next month. Okay, so this is the most important question of your entire Friday Foursome, and you need to explain your answer after you've answered it. So, will Tiger break Jack's record? You laugh. I'll move on to the next question.
Well, I know what your answer would be, but
yeah.
And like most everyone would say, absolutely he would have. I don't think that's going to be the case now. I certainly hope he wins another major too. I just don't. He's had too many interesting things happen in his life that's distracted him from where he was before, and I don't think. And I just don't think people are afraid of him anymore. So I don't think it's an issue. I hope he'll win a few more, but I don't think he'll do it.
Well, that's a very diplomatic answer. It's not the answer that I like, but I'm going to allow it because you explained it very thoroughly. And your final question of your Friday Foursome is, what's next for Rick Price? And don't you dare say lunch, because that's what's next. What's next?
What's next? Oh my, I do so many things. A couple exciting things. I'm working on a book called Winning at Golf and Life with the Zig Ziglar Corporation. That'll come out hopefully before the end of the year. I also coach women's golf team at Pima Community College. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, that was one of my questions. I totally forgot about that. Anyway.
So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Just love it all. Just wish I had 25 hours in a day.
Yeah, no kidding. You can say that again. Well, hey, thank you so much for doing this. I know we couldn't see you. I'll make sure that this gets shared, well, in all the places that people don't have a camera to be able to watch this. I did say at the beginning before we went live that the podcast is going to be perfect for this one because it's just going to be like. Thanks for doing this. I know the hats that you wear that it's tough to get you away for a little bit, so I appreciate you doing that. Jason, get back to work. Are you going to the Byron Nelson this weekend?
I don't know. I've got 2 leftover tickets. I'm going to try and get out there maybe on Saturday. But I'll tell you, man, it's a wreck out here right now. Like, water is so bad. So I don't know. We'll see. I am going to the Work.com tour next weekend, though. It'll be in town.
Ooh, cool. That'd be probably just as neat. Les, you're not going to be here next week, and Jason's not going to be here next week. So I'm not going to see you guys for a couple of weeks, but we'll power through. We'll deal. And one of the things that, and I'm going to call him out because he just sent me another IM. I don't know why he needs to be paying attention to the show, Matt. But one of the things that, Rick, you can take back to your golfers that you're coaching is not the strategy of making more birdies. We're done saying that. We're going to take Matt's advice and make less bogeys.